Santa Fe, New Mexico, February 26, 2025. A desperate 911 call cuts through the stillness of a snowy night. "I see them. They're not moving," the caller chokes out. Inside a mansion hidden among the piñon trees, Hollywood icon Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, lie dead, their bodies cold, their loyal dog Xena lifeless beside them. For weeks, no one heard their voices, but neighbors whisper of eerie cries echoing through the darkness, unanswered, days before the truth was uncovered. Was it a silent killer stalking their home? A betrayal left unspoken? Or a tragedy no one could have stopped? This is no movie script. This is the heart-stopping mystery of their final moments and the devastating secrets that died with them. Gene Hackman was more than a movie star. He was a force. From the gritty streets of the French Connection to the unforgiving plains of Unforgiven, his raw intensity earned him 2 Oscars and a place in cinematic history. 80 films, 40 years, a legacy etched in celluloid. But in 2004, at the peak of his fame, Gene did the unthinkable. He turned his back on Hollywood. Alongside his wife, Betsy Arakawa, a talented classical pianist, Gene retreated to a sprawling $4 million estate in the piñon-dotted hills of Santa Fe, New Mexico. They built a life of quiet beauty, painting, music, their 3 dogs, Xena, Nikita, and Bear. Friends like Barbara Lenehan describe a couple deeply in love, savoring simple moments. Betsy co-owned Pandora's, a chic home decor store, while Gene dabbled in art and writing. They were private, almost reclusive, communicating mostly by email, shunning cell phones. "They wanted to be left alone," Barbara told CNN, "and we respected that." But behind that idyllic facade, a storm was brewing. Gene, at 95, was battling advanced Alzheimer's, his once sharp mind slipping into shadow. Betsy, 65, became his sole caretaker, shielding him from the world. No maids, no cleaners, just Betsy, tending to his every need. But in January 2025, a chilling detail emerged. An exterminator, called to the property, found signs of rodents in the sheds and garages, droppings, nests, even a live mouse. He set traps, but the problem persisted. Was this a minor nuisance, or the first clue to a deadly threat? And why, just weeks later, did a neighbor report hearing faint, desperate cries echoing from the Hackman estate? Something was wrong in that house, terribly wrong. And on February 26, 2025, the world would learn just how tragic the truth was. But what led to that horrifying discovery? To understand, we need to step into the final days of Gene and Betsy's lives and face the darkness that consumed them. It began with a welfare check. A maintenance worker, unable to reach Gene or Betsy for over 2 weeks, peered through a window of their Hyde Park home. What he saw sent him scrambling for his phone. "I can't get inside," he told the 911 dispatcher, his voice cracking. "But I see 2 people. They're not moving." Deputies from the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office arrived at the Santa Fe Summit gated community, their boots crunching on the gravel. The front door was ajar, an unsettling detail that sparked whispers of foul play. Inside, the house was a time capsule. Art adorned the walls. A half-finished puzzle sat on the dining table, but the air was thick with an unspoken horror. Betsy Arakawa lay on the bathroom floor, her body partially mummified, hands and feet showing signs of decomposition. Nearby, in a closet, Xena's crate held her lifeless form, the Australian Kelpie mix dead from starvation and dehydration. A loyal German Shepherd mix, Nikita, stood guard over Betsy's body, growling at deputies, as if protecting her even in death. But where was Jean? Deputies moved through the house, their flashlights cutting through the dim rooms. In a mudroom near the kitchen, they found him. Gene Hackman, 95, collapsed on the floor, his cane and sunglasses inches away, as if he'd been reaching for the door. His body, like Betsy's, bore the grim marks of time, decomposition, a silent testament to how long they'd been gone. Two other dogs, Bear and Nikita, were alive, roaming the property, likely surviving through a doggy door. But the scene raised more questions than answers. No forced entry, no signs of a struggle. Yet 3 lives extinguished in one home? Sheriff Adan Mendoza called it suspicious. The rumor mill churned: carbon monoxide, poisoning, even murder-suicide. But the truth was far stranger. Investigators smelled a faint gas leak from the kitchen stove, but tests showed it was minor. 0.33% of room air. Not enough to kill. So what had happened? Was it a hidden illness? A tragic oversight? Or had something, or someone, sealed their fate? The answers lay in the autopsies, and they would turn this mystery into a heartbreak no one saw coming. On March 7, 2025, the New Mexico Office of the Medical Investigator released their findings, painting a tragic picture. Betsy Arakawa died first, around February 12th, from hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, a rare, deadly virus spread through rodent droppings, urine, or saliva. It starts with flu-like symptoms, fever, chills, muscle aches, then escalates to respiratory distress, filling the lungs with fluid. Without treatment, death can come in 24 to 48 hours. In New Mexico, hantavirus is carried by deer mice, common in rural areas like Santa Fe. The state reported 122 cases between 1993 and 2022, with a 38 to 50% mortality rate. And in early 2025, a spike in cases raised alarms. Betsy's final days were a desperate search for answers. Records released on April 15, 2025, show she scoured the internet for flu and COVID symptoms between February 8th and 12th, even querying whether dizziness or nosebleeds could be linked. On February 11th, she emailed her massage therapist, canceling an appointment because Jean had woken up with cold-like symptoms. A COVID test was negative, but Betsy, ever cautious, rescheduled. That same day, she ran errands: Sprouts Farmers Market, CVS, a pet food store, before returning home at 5:15 p.m. On February 12th, she called Cloudberry Health, a concierge medical service, for a 2-minute consultation, likely seeking help for her worsening symptoms. She missed their return call that afternoon. That was her last known contact with the world. The rodent infestation on their property was no coincidence. A New Mexico Public Health Department report, dated March 5, 2025, found droppings in 3 garages, 2 casitas, and 3 sheds. A live rodent, a dead one, and a nest were discovered in the garages, with traps already set, suggesting an ongoing problem. While the main house was clear, Betsy's work at Pandora's or visits to the outbuildings could have exposed her. Did she unknowingly inhale the virus while checking a shed? Or was it lurking closer than anyone realized? The question haunts investigators. Gene's autopsy told a different story. His death, around February 18th, was caused by hypertensive and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, with advanced Alzheimer's as a significant factor. His pacemaker, last active on February 18th, showed an abnormal heart rhythm, marking his final moments. Chief Medical Examiner Heather Jarrell noted no food in his stomach, suggesting he hadn't eaten in days, though he wasn't dehydrated. Alzheimer's left him in a very poor state, unable to care for himself or even recognize Betsy's death. For 6 days, he was alone in that house, surrounded by the echoes of his life and the body of his beloved wife. Picture a man who once captivated millions, now lost in his own home. Did he wander past Betsy's body, his mind too fractured to understand? Did he call out, as the neighbor claimed, his voice swallowed by the night? Friends like Daniel Lenehan, who knew Jean as a prankster and painter, were shattered. Betsy was his everything, Daniel told people. She protected him, kept him home, kept him safe. But when Betsy fell, there was no one to catch Jean. And that's where the true horror lies. But the story doesn't end there. A new shadow looms over this tragedy. A battle over Jean's $80 million estate, whispers of family strife, and a chilling question. Could this have been prevented? What secrets did those final days hold? And who failed to hear Jean's cries? For 6 days, Gene Hackman was a ghost in his own home. No caretaker, no visitors, just him, his dogs, and Betsy's body. The neighbor's account, reported by Co8 on April 20th, 2025, adds a gut-wrenching layer. I heard cries, faint, like someone in pain, they said. It was maybe February 15th or 16th. I thought it was an animal. Was it Jean, trapped in confusion, calling for help? Or was it Nikita, guarding Betsy, mourning her loss? We'll never know, but the thought of it is unbearable. Inside the house, deputies found poignant relics of their life. A note from Jean to Betsy. Morning, lovely girl. A belated birthday card, apologizing for needing her help. A dresser topped with photos of them and their dogs. These weren't the trappings of fame, but of a love that endured. Betsy, 30 years younger, had taken on the impossible, caring for Jean alone, refusing outside help to protect his dignity. Friends like Stuart Ashman, who met Jean at an art gathering, wished they'd known. Betsy never asked for help, he told the Los Angeles Times. She was so strong, too strong. But not everyone was at peace with their story. Jean's $80 million estate, left to Betsy in his 2005 will, became a flashpoint. Betsy's will directed any remaining assets to a charitable trust, excluding Jean's 3 adult children, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie. Court documents, updated April 25, 2025, reveal the children are contesting the will, arguing they were unfairly excluded. Elizabeth and Leslie told investigators the couple's privacy meant no maids or cleaners entered the home, potentially exacerbating the rodent issue. Did Betsy's insistence on isolation seal their fate? Or was this tragedy inevitable? And then there's the hantavirus spike. The New Mexico Department of Health reported 7 cases in 2023 and 2024, but 2025 saw an alarming uptick, with Betsy's death marking the first confirmed fatality. Was their estate a breeding ground, as some reports claimed? Or was this a cruel twist of fate? The answers lie in the shadows of that house, and in the choices made before the end. On April 15, 2025, Jean and Betsy were laid to rest in a private Santa Fe memorial, attended by Jean's children and close friends. Morgan Freeman, Jean's co-star in Unforgiven, paid tribute at the Oscars, calling him a generous performer who won the hearts of millions. But for Santa Fe, they were more than icons. They were neighbors, artists, dog lovers. Mayor Alan Weber called them down to earth, woven into the city's fabric. Jean once said, I don't think about legacy. I just hope people remember me as someone who tried to do good work. And we will. For the characters he brought to life, the love he shared with Betsy, and the quiet strength they showed in their final years. But their deaths raise haunting questions. Could Betsy's isolation have been broken? Could the rodent problem have been caught? And what of those cries in the night, whose voice was lost? This is more than a mystery. It's a wake-up call. What do you think went wrong? Could this tragedy have been stopped? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more true crime stories that grip your soul and challenge your mind. Until next time, listen for the cries in the silence.